What the flicks? Where are you? Take one. Oh yeah.
Hello.
Warriors.
Welcome to this episode of What the Flicks. It's our special Halloween episode, and we have really good scary movies for you, and some of them not so scary, but definitely Halloween. Anyways, my name is Susan Ayers.
Patty Smith.
Jorge Sanchez.
And Lon Shima.
Yes, we have Lon Shima with us today. Shima. Okay, so I'm going to start off. I'm going to tell you the movies of this week are Stories to Tell in the Dark, Lost Boys, Elementary, The Blacksmith and the Devil, and What We Do in the Shadows. So we're going to start with George.
Oh, me first.
Yes, and it's going to be Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Some people believe if we repeat stories often enough, they become real. They make us who we are. That can be scary.
Eat it, Harold.
Do you want to see a haunted house?
Some kids went missing, so they boarded it up.
Okay, we saw it. Should we go now?
Who ordered the chicken?
What's that?
It's a book of scary stories. Tell me a story. Hey, what's going on?
Tommy's missing.
Tommy's name was in the book. There's no way it's actually connected, right? Okay, what if what happens in the book is exactly what's happened for real? Oh my god. Aggie!
Stella!
Listen, you're in the next story. We're reading it right here.
It's a corpse looking for her missing toe.
I'm afraid that we woke something up.
You shouldn't have taken the book.
We've got to stop it.
Sarah Bellows' book, where the stories write themselves and it all comes alive.
The jangling man is coming.
Where am I? Here I am. Yes.
He's so busy setting us
Stories to
up
Tell in the
that
Dark.
he's like, wait.
I have such a huge head. My head is just hanging up there like a Beanie and Cecil.
And I have such a peanut head, I can't keep it on.
Beanie and Cecil.
Okay, so Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yes.
It's based on a children's book of short horror stories by Alvin Schwartz, which received criticism from parents and social groups who considered it inappropriate for younger readers, much like the Brothers Grimm's first volumes, which were called Children's Tales. And
Is that Hans Christian Andersen?
Yeah,
No,
the Grimm's.
Grimm.
Yeah, the Grimm. And they were also regarded as not suitable for children when they came out. Directed by Andrei Ovredal. The screenplay was adapted by Dan Heckman and Kevin Heichman from a screen story by producer Guillermo del Toro, as well as Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan. And basically, on Halloween, 1968, four kids, Stella, Aggie, Chuck, and Ramon, explore a local haunted house to find a book of horror stories written by a girl, Sarah Bellows, played by Kathleen Pollard, who allegedly committed suicide in that house. So Stella takes the book home with her and notices that the book starts writing stories, but in the title of the stories have their names on them too. So basically what it's doing is it's whatever story it writes, that happens is in real life. So so I think the movie is kind of like a classic mystery. It reminded me of the girl with the dragon tattoo, where they're solving something that happened way back, from the future, an old tale, and so yeah, it's classic, kids, scary story. Children's gonna get involved. They're gonna solve the day. It's a little, it not as, I would say the outcome is not as popular as positive as those 80s ones, but it was a good mystery. To me, it was a mystery story, and figuring out what's going on with this book and why it does that. Except that it's also very brutal that kids are getting killed, and also it reminded me of Del Toro because the creatures, even though he's really, I think he was slated to direct it, but couldn't do it last minute. So, but the creatures have that kind of feel of Del Toro creatures. They're pretty freaky. I mean, his creatures really, they scare you like when Stephen King. He says that creature from Pan's Labyrinth, the thing. He made him jump out of his chair, and the Toro was sitting next to him, and he felt this pride when he saw. Even Stephen King scared of my creatures. Anyway, so I enjoyed it.
Lon?
That scarecrow really is.
Freaky.
It's not scary, but it's disturbing.
Yes.
To me, is more.
That's even better.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like it. I think you're right. I think it's sort of like a weird Hardy Boys or Nancy Drew, because obviously it's aimed at a younger audience. At least I felt that. And it's almost like an anthology because it has to do with the little stories of different characters.
Yes.
What I do like, but George is right, the violence is very, very limited because two of the kids, they disappear, but you don't see them killed. So it's sort of fast. It's like, so what happened to them? I mean, you see claw marks on the floor. You see all these little clues about, okay, they were obviously dragged off and they're gone, but what happened to them?
Right.
So that's what I actually did like it. In fact, I thought, I wonder if they're going to do more because I'm assuming this is a series of books.
Yeah, right.
Again, like the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew, right? There's more and more coming along. But as for the story they tell, I have to be quite honest. When George said he was talking about this movie, it's like, okay, I'll look it up because he said Guillermo del Toro. Thinking, okay, he's doing a horror movie. I haven't seen this. I started watching and said, gee, this is familiar. And then 20 minutes into it, it's like, I saw this at the movie theaters.
Really? When it first came out?
First came out. So it's like, see, it probably didn't stick with me, which is why I'm saying it's like, I probably didn't like it as much as like everyone else did when I first seen this movie. But here's what slipped I did not know Guillermo del Toro was actually attached to
me either. No.
So that's what surprised me. But once he said it, there are two creatures especially that said, oh no, that's it. Like I said, there's a scarecrow.
Right.
You just look at it and
it's scary.
Of course, you see the jocks out there with their baseball bats and you see them beat them up and you're thinking, oh, you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. And it sort of does in a way. But it is such an odd film because, like I said, it looks like at least two people died that we know of for sure.
Yeah, right.
But the others, you're just quite not sure on. So that's why I thought that's why I said I thought it's more aimed at kids.
And the one story, the red room, that creature was so freaky too. That one, I was like, damn, that's pretty scary. I see that, I'd be like,
well, that's why
time to get my brown pants.
Well, that's why everyone had the shining moment with that little lady that one of the characters went into and realizes, oh, that did not happen. But then in reality, as the film goes on, you realize it did happen. So, so I did think it was entertaining enough, but I thought it was very funny that it's like when he first said the movie, that title did not even stick with me. So that probably tells you what I thought.
It shows you your frame of mind. When, because I'll have to watch a movie sometimes twice if I didn't like it.
Right, yeah.
Just because I know I'm just not in the right frame of mind to judge it well. Yeah.
Okay, I'm saying, what is it about adolescent children and scary movies? They just go together so perfectly.
Hormones.
No, you think of It. You think of Lost Boys. You think of it's just perfect.
Right.
Well, they're the most passionate and they're more idealistic. So all those things are extreme things that come out.
Right.
That wouldn't work with adults.
I think that magic things still happen to you when you're adolescent and children, and they stop happening when you become an adult.
Because
they're less believable or they're more scary. I mean, that was quite scary. Yeah. But it wasn't really. I didn't find it scary. I thought it was like a very a classic northern type fairy story. And when you say fairy story, it's like you think about it. They're very dark. Hansel and Gretel is not
all fairy tales
It's
are
not
grim.
an uplifting story. It's, you
Well,
know,
the true stories. Like
Yes.
you said, when you see a Grimm story or that, or even
Yeah,
Hans Christian
yes,
Andersen,
yes.
the endings you see in Disney movies are not what was written on the page.
No. And it was like they're quite dark, and that.
Yeah, they're very
so
dark.
I felt this was a very classic. Like Hans Christian Andersen could have written this story with Guillermo del Toro, and the reason I say that is because he takes everything and he ups it a level. I always that like you were saying, we were watching the movie. It was like, wow, even though this is like a scary movie, it's kind of like a interesting upscale scary movie, you know.
Yeah.
So I actually like the movie. And I'm not really a scary movie person, but yeah.
I loved the movie. I thought it was sophisticated.
Yes.
But I wouldn't call it it's a scary movie, but it isn't scary. It's more fairy tale, like for an adult. You know what I mean?
Or just suspenseful.
What?
It's suspenseful.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
had suspense, so that's what makes it scary because you have to have it build up to something to
Right.
go somewhere. What I did like is the two kids. I mean, even as a kid, I loved horror movies, and I don't really know why I liked them. I just loved them more than any other movie, and I still do. But the two children not knowing how they died, but your imagination. See, you gotta leave enough room in a movie, so your imagination, nothing can top it. Nothing can top your imagination. And you know where my imagination went everywhere. It's like the gorier, the better. If they'd shown it, I think it would have brought the movie down a
Yes,
bit.
I agree.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
so to
Then
and
you're just in a slasher movie. Yeah.
yes,
Right,
and slasher movies are boring because you know it's like this is the plot, this is what happens. One might live, or now nobody lives. It's
Yeah,
like
it's kind of like porn. It's like how much can you know what I mean? How
It's
interesting.
how often
you
can
know,
you see the same thing over and over?
I thought the cinematography was great because the way the sets were really added to the eeriness. Do you know what I mean? Like, if some other directors had done this, I think, or set designers, I think it would have been not effective at all. It's the way it was all built up. So, and I love the title. I'd never heard of this movie before. And what year did it come out?
I was
Last year. Because
Yeah.
I saw it at the theater.
2000.
Oh, I thought there was another.
2019.
It was before
Yeah,
that.
2019. Yeah.
It was a book, right?
Well, that's, I think it's a series of books,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
not sure.
Books, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when we went and saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and there was a Guillermo del Toro screening going on at the same time.
No, I never noticed that.
There was. It was like they were all these people, all these kids, right?
I never noticed that.
That was this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's not a Guillermo del Toro movie.
You can feel his influence in it.
He wrote the story, and then some two other people wrote the screenplay.
Right.
So it's like, and he's kind of a producer in it, and he's
a director.
He's not the director.
He's one of the directors,
No.
I think.
No.
He was gonna, but he didn't.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, what if one person, you can see his influence all through the movie. You know how many people are in
I
a movie,
totally
like
agree.
they are in charge of a movie. That says something.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can
yeah.
feel like a Hitchcock movie or something.
Always can tell
you
it's
can
Hitchcock.
you can feel it. You know, it's like that person. Okay, do we want to score this now?
Yeah.
Okay, it's your movie, right?
Yeah, I liked it. I would have. I could have seen more things that I didn't like the way it left me hanging. So I'll give it a 9 for that.
okay.
Yeah. I give it about 6, I think.
Wow, you're tough.
Oh, wow.
You're tough. Okay, I was gonna give it. After your thing, I thought it's 7, but no, I'm going to give it 8, which I originally started with.
I'm going to give it a 9. I thought it was that good.
So, beep, beep, beep. We'll be back.
Hit it harder, George.
Okay.